Hi, it's Tim at Ticky Boom. Today we're going to be making this really cool layered text effect in Framer sites. First thing that we need to do, let's go ahead and get our main components set up. So desktop, let's go ahead and give it a layout. We're going to give it a stack grid or just a stack of vertical. And we'll go ahead and take away the gap here. For the fill, let's go ahead and sample this color from our color palette. Boom, there we go. Now what we need to do is we're gonna go ahead and throw in a frame. I'm just gonna throw in a frame there. We're gonna say that it's going to be 100% wide. And we're gonna make it 100% for the viewport. And this is just for the sake of the tutorial, and we're gonna take off a background. Okay, so within this frame, I'm gonna go ahead and name it main wrapper. There we go. Then within this frame, we're gonna do another frame. And we're gonna call this basically the text wrapper. So let's, in order for a frame within another frame to not be absolute, you're gonna have to go ahead and give it a layout. So we're just gonna give it a layout. Stack is fine. So for this frame, we're going to use this as basically the text wrapper. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a text wrapper. And you'll see why in a second. Basically, we need to make sure that the text wrapper is relative so that when we stack and layer the text, some of the text is gonna be absolute position and needs to be absolute positioned to this text wrapper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say it is 100% wide, and for this one I'm going to go ahead and give it 100%, or actually 100 viewports, and we're going to go ahead and take off the fill, and we're going to go ahead and do a frame. We're going to say this is going to be first we got to give it a layout, and then now for this text frame we're going to go ahead and say we're going to actually take off the background fill. And before we actually style this, let's go ahead and throw in some text. So I'm going to throw in text. We're going to say hello. Okay, so for this text, we're going to go ahead and give it a style. And we're going to do the title. Let's go ahead and see why. There we go. See if it didn't sample. Go ahead and give it there. Perfect. All right, so we have our basics set up. So let's go ahead and get this frame to be styled correctly. So we're going to call this text holder. There we go. And then we're going to go ahead and just give it a layout. And we're going to say center distribution. Perfect. Good. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to go into the text style and I want to just adjust it a bit. Let's actually bump up the sizing. Let's say 200. And then I want to go ahead and make this transform uppercase. There we go. Cool. And then now for the line height, let's go ahead and make it 1. And then let's go down just so that the frame is roughly as close as we can to this. Okay, that sounds good. And let's go ahead and actually make it 220. Okay, great. So now what we're going to do is for the text holder, the reason that I wanted to put the text in before we did the text holder, so that we can fit content. We're going to do fit content for the height and the width. And as you can tell here, it's cutting off the O a little bit, which is fine. So we're going to go ahead and take off the gap, and we're going to give some padding. So the padding is going to be essential for making this layered text effect. So we're going to give, let's see, a little bit to the bottom, and we're going to try to match the top there. So that looks about good. And then we're going to give some right. So we're just giving a little bit of padding here. So let's say, let me go just a little bit more on the right, and then we'll do 2 on the left there. Next, let's start styling and layering. So we're going to go to the text holder, and I'm going to, with the text holder, I'm going to give it a background color. And we're going to go ahead and sample this right here. Now we're going to go ahead and go to shadows, and we're going to sample the same color. And we're going to go ahead and just to start, I'm going to do 50%. And let's go here to blur. Let's do 15 blur. And then we'll go like 5 y-axis. So this is just to kind of get the party started. So also with text holder again, let's go up to styles and we're gonna add Z index. And we're gonna give it a Z index of 6. Awesome. Make sure we have text holder, we're gonna do Command C, Command V, and we're gonna paste it. Let's see what happened here. There we go. And now we're gonna call this text holder lower. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the Z index to 5 on this one. And with text holder lower, we're gonna go to absolute. You can tell that we are starting to get the desired effect that we're going for. So we're gonna center align it, and then we are just going to bump it. Let's go 400 from the top. And let's actually, now we can go a little bit more. And make sure it's center aligned. And make sure it's center aligned. Let's go like 350. There, that is much better. Now we're going to take this text holder, and I actually like, what you want to do is you want to double check and make sure that you like the shadowing here. So what you can do is you can go back to the text holder here and adjust maybe your shadows. So let's say I want to do a little bit more blur. Let's say I want to go here, I want to do like 60%. That's much better. Then what you can do is go to this text holder and you can go ahead and just basically duplicate what you did, and you'll see why here in a second. So I think we'll do 20 here, and then here we'll do 60%. Okay, so now that you have basically your shadow set up, you have your positioning set up, what you're going to do is go ahead and click on this text holder lower and copy it. Now, it'll sometimes just kind of plop it outside of your desktop, and that's not a big deal. You're okay. You just go ahead and drag it back in. We're going to go ahead and center align it. We're going to change the Z index to 4. Ooh-hoo-hoo. And what we're going to do is we're going to, I'm going to do 390. There we go. That is very cool. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm actually going to, I think I can just duplicate this. Yeah, that's better. So Command D, and what we're going to do now is we're going to go to Z index of 3, and we are going to do like 400. We need to do a little bit more. Let's do 450. That's much better. We're starting to see it. 425. There. Now we can go ahead and make sure this is centered, and let's go to both of these, make sure they're centered one at a time so it centers on the actual canvas. And we'll go here, make sure it's centered. There, awesome. And let's do one more for good measure. So we're going to go ahead and Command duplicate this. So Command D. And for this one, since it's on the bottom, what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and give it a little Z index of, let's do 2. And then let's go ahead and make sure we get this down to like 460. That works. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take off the drop shadow since you don't need it. And then you're going to also set the opacity. So I'm going to set the opacity on this one to be 0.25. Finally, let's go ahead and refine this to our taste. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make sure everything is center aligned. Sometimes when you do adjustments and you use this type of alignment up here, sometimes it doesn't align perfectly. And let's just go ahead and double check and make sure center aligned. And finally up here, center aligned. Okay. Now that we have everything center aligned, we can do some fun stuff. So there is the ability to make this offsetting here a little bit more staggered. So that way we can kind of have a little bit more fun. So let's say it gets, really kind of far away on the first layer, and then it kind of cascades down a little less. So for example, here, I'm going to do 375. And make sure it's centered, it should be. And then we're gonna go here to the text lower here, and we're gonna go like 400, just to give it a little bit more. Actually, I'm gonna adjust, I think I did too much at 375. Let's do 350. center. And then let's go, see, this is where you get in the weeds because you're doing all these little micro adjustments here, but that's how we get it right. So this one, so if we're at 360, let's do 375. See, that's too less. Okay, good. So you basically, you're trying to figure out like, okay, so there's a somewhat of a number sequence that you can go here. So let's do 395. There we go. We're gonna do a kind of a staggered effect. This one, we're gonna do 405. Not enough, 415. And let's actually do 420. And then we're gonna go ahead and do that. And then what we're going to do is do this one right here. And we're going to go 440. And yeah, that's looking interesting, a little intriguing. And then actually, let's go ahead and bring this up a bit. So I'm gonna do 350. There. So we're gonna go ahead and center it. And then let's actually bring this text holder up. Let's just go 385 and center it. Let's go 388. 388. Okay, cool. And then let's see this one. So let's bring it up just a touch. So 410. And as you can tell, I'm always centering and aligning. And then this one, let's go 425. Let's do it just to bump it up. 428. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now let's go ahead and color this. So let's keep the top one, this lighter color, and then let's go in here to the second one. And let's give it a coloring, and we're gonna go ahead and say let's do this one. Yummy, yummy. And then if we go to this text holder layer right here, we can give it an opacity of like 0.75. Then what we can do here is we come to this one and we're going to give it a color. Let's sample this purple. And then we're going to go ahead and this text holder, we're going to give it a 0.5. You know, actually, I'm not liking the opacity effect. So you can sample both of these, select both of these layers and do it that way. The other way you could do it is you could select the text itself and you could give it like an opacity of 0.8, and then you could select the text here and give it opacity of 0.6. And then we could come down to this one and we're just gonna do our own color here. We're gonna do this color and we are going to make it 0.4. Let's do one more round of refinement here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select all these little text right here, and I'm going to make it that we're just gonna stick with one color. And as you can tell here, that makes it a little bit more impactful. Sometimes color can throw stuff off. You can make this all one color, and we could do it like maybe the neon. Let's see what it looks like with the neon. And this is just a way for us to have a little bit of fun. So let's go ahead and sample that. Hey, that's pretty cool too. And that's a wrap. I hope these techniques have inspired you to add a little bit of sauce to your framer designs. Check out our Insta at TikiBoomDesign. We do a lot of design experiments around our tutorials, so check it out and maybe give us a follow for some added inspiration. And if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe and get notified. We drop new content every Monday. As always, your friend in design, Tim at TikiBoom. Bye.